Hello, Aldwyn Altuney here. Welcome to Media Queen TV. We have a fantastic guest with us today, all the way from Melbourne, Andrew Jobling. He is extraordinary. He's known as the accidental author, and he has actually written 8 books. Can you believe it? Amazing, 8 books. While most people struggle to do just one, he has done 8. And he actually played professional Australian football for 7 years and has more than 30 years experience in the health and wellbeing industry. He is the best-selling author of books including Fat Chocolate, Drink Alcohol, Eat Chocolate, Drink Alcohol, and Be Lean and Healthy, The Wellness Puzzle, and his latest, Tears of Joy, is his 8th book. For the last 20 plus years, he's been writing, mentoring, and speaking to audiences from 13 years to 93 years of age and helping them create the mindset that will lead to optimal well-being and a life of joyful longevity. Welcome, Andrew.
Thanks, Aldwyn. Wonderful to be here.
So
thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Oh, look, it's amazing. You have quite an amazing background, and I can't wait to hear more today. And I know you're also a regular guest on Juice FM, based right here on the Gold Coast.
I have a lot of fun with Ellerina most Monday mornings for Mental Health Monday. Lots of fun, yes.
Excellent. Ellerina and Jody, they're amazing for the Good Taste Brekkie. We love Juice FM. Good news media. We need more of that out there.
100%.
It's fantastic. So you're on, what time are you on there where people can tune in?
Well, most Monday mornings there, Mental Health Monday, I think it varies a little bit, but it's 7 a.m. or just after the 7 a.m. news. Queensland time, which is about to change, me being in Melbourne, as of Sunday, it'll be 8 a.m. my time, which is cool because I get an extra hour sleeping.
Yes, and people can tune in online as well if you're not in the Gold Coast area with Juice.
They can indeed, yes.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, you played professional Australian football for 7 years. Now, I find that very interesting because I'm a former, well, I wouldn't say professional table tennis player, but I played for Australia for 6 years. I was also an elite athlete, which has led to me becoming very ambitious in my work life. So how important would you say that has been in your life, having that professional football background for 7 years to actually creating you as, I would say, you're just slightly ambitious with 8 books out and with all the things that you get done?
Yeah.
How is that related?
Well, it's definitely all related. I think it's funny how things evolve, isn't it? I mean, the last thing I would have ever thought I'd be doing would be writing books, that's for sure. You know, I was a footballer. I wanted to be a footballer. That's all I wanted to do was be a footballer. I wanted to, as a teenager, young kid and teenager, when anyone said, what are you going to do when you grow up? I said, I'm going to be a footballer. When my teachers said, Andrew, concentrate in class, I'd say, well, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to be a footballer. No brains required. And my parents were pushing me, when you leave school, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I said, I'm going to be a footballer. And they said, yes, Andrew, good boy. What are you going to do? So I never had aspirations to, English was my worst subject by a long way. So, I still pinch myself every day, the fact that I'm now about to publish my 8th book and sitting here having this conversation. But I think, being a professional footballer, there's a lot that you learn from the aspiration to make it at the top level in sport, whether you make it or not. I think there's a lot of obstacles, there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of, you learn about patience, persistence, you learn resilience, you learn a lot of stuff and I know, my professional sporting career was certainly not one that most people would remember apart from me. I'm a household name in one house that I know of. That's mine. When I was 17 and played my first senior game, I got knocked out, carried out from the stretcher. So I had a choice to make. Do I give up or get up? I was a skinny little kid. I was actually, my whole motivation to be a professional sportsman was interesting. It wasn't for a love of football, that's for sure. It was for a desire to be noticed, to get attention. I was quite an insecure little kid. I was a middle child. I had an older brother who was really smart. I had a younger sister who was incredibly cute. And I'm sitting in the middle going, hey, what about me? And, the tantrums didn't work for too long and running away from home only was a short-term solution. And then I thought, right, I'm going to be a professional footballer. I was just this crazy thought that came into my head because I didn't really have a lot of ability to be, if I'm being brutally honest, I wasn't that talented. But it's an interesting thing that I learned from a young age. When you get real clear on what you want, and when there's a strong enough desire to make it happen, logic doesn't really have a lot to do with it. I think, unfortunately, for a lot of people I see, they try and make logical decisions about what they want in life, and I think that's probably the wrong reason. I mean, we need some logic, but when you know what you want, logic really is irrelevant if it's important enough and you're willing to do what you need to do. And I did, and I ended up playing 7 years at St Kilda, and yeah, there's a lot of lessons, and I think it's shaped me as a person. It certainly shaped me. It gave me more belief in myself. It gave me more belief in my ability and understanding the power of patience. 20 months between my first senior game and second senior game, 20 months of missing selection, of getting knocked down and getting back up, and just that mindset of I'm just going to keep going, because eventually they'll either give me a game or they'll tell me to leave. So I wasn't going to leave. I wasn't going to leave regret. I didn't want regret. I didn't want to go, oh, maybe I could have made it if. I wanted to give it everything, and I did. And 20 months later, I played my second game. And it's interesting that I'm glad it took 20 months, because I needed to learn and grow. I needed to become the person to be a professional footballer. So that a lot of lessons, and I've been able to take them with me through life. It was this is over 40 years ago now. So 40. Wow. Oh my gosh.
And how old were you at that stage?
Well, clearly I was only about 2 years old. No, I was 16 when I started at St Kilda. I was there for 7 years. So
wow.
Started there in, I think, 1981 to 87.
And any serious physical damage during that time? It can be a rough sport, right?
Well, I think a lot of people would argue that there's been some serious physical damage, but no. I'm still walking. I'm at 57 years old. I'm still standing. I'm still upright. I've got a few creaks and groans and moans and pains. Yeah, but I think everyone does. It's just part of, you don't want to get through life with everything working smoothly. You've got to get through life and use what you've got, and it's going to wear out. So
you didn't break any legs or arms or anything at the time?
No, I didn't break legs or arms. I think you noticed my nose is a little bit crooked, so that got bent and straightened a couple of times. But concussion a couple of times, killed a few brain cells. So, but apart from that, I think I got it quite unscathed. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. And how did that then lead you to the health and wellbeing industry?
Well, again, interesting story, Aldwyn. As a teenager, we get asked the most crazy question, right? Like, how many 15, 16-year-olds have any idea what they want to do, right? None of us. Yet we get asked all the time, what are you going to do when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I'm going to be a footballer. So my parents did everything to coerce, cajole, get me to, do some sort of tertiary education. And I finally succumbed to them. They were throwing ideas like, well, keep your options open. Why don't you do commerce or science or business? I'm going, you got to be kidding, don't you? I'm going to be a footballer. I don't need that boring stuff. And then I came to the conclusion. I said, okay, I don't care what I do as long as it's got to do with sport. That was the only criteria I had as a 16, 17-year-old, which fair enough. I mean, again, crazy to put that pressure on a 16, 17-year-old. Have a look at the teenagers today. Have a look at the people that are in a career they hate because they forced themselves. They were forced to make a decision at 17 what they were going to do. Crazy. We'll talk more about that. But so I said, I don't care as long as it's got to do with sport. So I just picked phys ed. Physical education sounded like sport. Now, I had no idea where it was leading or what I would become as a result of that 4 years. I didn't know it. So I got into phys ed. And the first 2 years, loved it. I played sport, all sorts of sport. I was playing, sport I'd never played before, badminton, table tennis, basketball and soccer. And I was even doing ballet and enjoying it and all sorts of stuff. And I was loving it. And then third year comes around and we're sitting in the lecture theatre, being told to, preparation for the year, what to expect. And the lecturer at the front of the room says, okay, you'll need to organise teaching rounds this year. And I'm sitting there going, with this weird look on my face, going, what is he talking about, teaching rounds? So I was confused. So I walked down the front after the lecture and I said, look, you mentioned something about teaching rounds. What is that for? Now, this lecturer looks at me like I've got three heads. And he said, well, you do realise this is a teaching degree, don't you? This is a Bachelor of Education. And I said, okay, that's new information. Didn't know, didn't care. I mean, that just shows a level of interest, like that I gave to my education. At that stage, I was 19 years old, 18, 19, 20 years old. I don't know. I was right in my middle of my footy career. Again, I just did not really value education. So I ended up doing 4 years and I ended up with a teaching degree. So I thought, well, I'll teach. I've got the degree, may as well teach. Well, that didn't last long. It lasted about 4 years and, oh my gosh. And kudos to teachers. I love you. I respect you incredibly, but it's just not for me. I mean, interesting now, I talk in schools to teenagers, but I can leave. I don't have to hang around. I don't have to go to staff meetings. I don't have to write reports. I go in and shake them up a little bit and give them a little bit, sprinkle a little bit of magic dust on them, and then I get out of there. But so I ended up teaching, and just it was not for me. I was miserable. I was stressed. I was anxious. Like every morning, I would wake up. I didn't want to go. I'm like, I don't want to go to school today, Mum. You do. You have to. You're a teacher. Oh, dope. So I ended up going and then finally got out. And then, so what happened was towards the end of that, I started doing some work part-time in a gym. And when I finally said, I'm sick of teaching, I went full-time and started working in the gym. And after a couple of years of working in a gym, I started a personal training business, got into personal training, and for the next 15 years, I was a personal trainer. And so that's sort of how the old fitness thing started. And that was an interesting, again, very interesting time, interesting evolution.
Amazing. Wow. And, it's interesting you say that, like, 17, we're told, right, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And I really remember being in Sydney at the time and looking at the curriculum of, what was available at university at the time and looking through all these things. No interest. And then I thought, media sounds interesting. I thought, media. And there was there's a bit of photography in there. There was radio, there was film producing, there was all these different, I thought, yeah, that sounds interesting. And I had no idea either what I wanted to do at the end of that. But I thought there's enough in there that surely by the time I finish university, I'll come out and I'll know exactly what I want to do, because there was a lot of options within that media degree, right? And I came out wanting to be a graphic designer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And then I worked as a graphic designer for a while, as well as editing and writing and doing photography and all these other things, and landed where I am now. So
you're one of those very few teenagers, Aldwyn, that made a choice at 16, 17 years old, and you actually got it right. I mean, you're probably 1 in 100 that gets it right. I mean, how many kids get asked, what do you want to do? Oh, I'm going to be a teacher. And then they get there, I don't want to be a teacher. I'm going to be a policeman. I don't want to be a policeman. I'm going to be a lawyer, a doctor. And they get there and go, I don't want to do this. This is ridiculous. I've got no life. I've got no time. I've got nothing.
Yes.
And they're miserable, yet because they've invested so much time in their education, they can't justify doing anything else. The question, this is the thing that the key question for me, and it happened when I was in a really dark place in my life, when I realized everything I thought I wanted to do, which had led me here, I'm thinking, this is not what I want. And then I asked myself a different question. I said, so Andrew, how do you want to live? And I think if we asked teenagers that question, they would make very different decisions about their vocation or the career path that they went on. With clarity about how do you want to live? What impact do you want to have? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to travel? What do you want to do? How do you want to spend your time? Who do you want to spend your time with?
Yes.
Very different question, and I know it would bring very different results, and hopefully it would do something about the ridiculous rate of mental health issues that are happening around the world at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So what could help kids through that process to actually help make a decision? I mean, it's tricky because that's just the current system is set up that way, but what could help people through that to get clarity on what they want to do in their life?
Well, look, I think as a kid, I don't regret a second. If I look back, from that moment, I left teaching. I became a personal trainer. I don't regret teaching. I'm glad I did it. It was an experience. It sort of really shaped me. And look, I don't think there's a bad choice. I just think sometimes we don't learn from it. We stay in it. You know, like if you're going to a job or doing something and it's causing stress and anxiety, and you just go, oh, I'm going to tough it out, that's just dumb. Sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone, but if it's causing continual angst and stress and anxiety, then change it. Either change your attitude towards it or change it. It's crazy. Now, you know, teaching for me was causing me stress, anxiety. I was not a happy, healthy person. And I thought, I can't keep doing this. My first gym job, I go to this gym, and the one I'd work part-time at, and I really enjoyed working part-time. And it was a husband and wife team that owned the gym. And I had primarily was working with the wife when I was part-time. When I started working full-time, I was working with a husband who was a bully. He was a horrible, horrible person. Well, when I say horrible, that's harsh. He was a man with a lot of personal problems. He was not a happy man, and he bullied. He was critical, and I lasted about 3 months. And again, I could have gone, well, just tough it out. This is what you want to do, tough it out. And I thought, no, I'm not going to tough it out. At one point, he said something to me. I turned to him. I took off my staff top. It was middle of winter in Melbourne. I handed it to him. I said, mate, you can take your job, and you can. And I walked out the door, got in my car, and thought, what am I going to do now? But doors will always open. So the door opened for me to then, you know, connections from St Kilda. You might remember a guy named Trevor Barker, who was an absolute legend at St Kilda. He's unfortunately passed away since, but he was managing a gym in another gym. Ring him. Hey, mate, got a job? Yep. So within 2 weeks, I got another. Well, in a few days, I got another job. That's where it led me to personal training, and I love the personal training. So all these things that are happening, you can see, you know, they're moving me. The personal training I did, I loved it. 15 years, but then I got to the point where I thought, this is hard work. 5 a.m. starts, 9 p.m. finishes. It's a tough way to live. My income's up 1 week, down the next. There's no stability. And I thought, right, after learning a lot about nutrition, I thought, I'm going to buy a cafe. Again, no logic, just a thought. Got excited, invested in a cafe, ended up working for the next 2 years, working 7 days a week, over 100 hours, and the cafe ended up losing a lot of money. So I ended up in about $100,000 debt. And now this was the point for me where people go, wow, that's bad. That's tragic. And I'm thinking at the time, yeah, I thought so. Looking back now, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because it was at that moment I sat there and I thought, this is not how I want to live. How do I want to live? And I started thinking, I want to impact the world, and I want to have choice, and I want to be a force for good, and I want to make lots of money and multiple sources of income. I want to be financially free and have time and energy and health and well-being and good relationships. Because at that moment, out of nowhere, this crazy thought, write a book, right? That was the first time I ever thought about writing a book, ever. It's never been an aspiration of mine. English was my worst subject by far. I had no time, no experience, background, qualifications. So I don't even know why I even considered writing a book, but I went with it. And I ended up writing my first book, which was called Eat Chocolate, Drink Alcohol, and Be Lean and Healthy. And that went on to become a best-selling book. And as they say in the classics, the rest is history. But so any decision to take action, in my mind, is a good one. Okay, so you asked, going back to your question, what advice would I give? Take action. You know, do stuff, but follow your gut. Don't necessarily. I mean, people are going to try and give you advice. All right, so listen politely. My parents, yes, mum and dad. Yes, mum and dad. Yes. Listen politely, but do not live a life dictated by someone else. You need to follow your heart, your gut, your purpose, your intuition, your value structure of life. Just listen to your body, listen to your gut. And a lot of the stuff I talk about in the new book is that emotion, when you feel, we often feel something, you know, when, let's say we're about to do something, or we've got to make a choice, and we feel either anxiety or fear, or we might feel joy or gratitude. Well, your emotion is just your body's way of telling you, giving you information. If you listen, that's that intuition. You know, when you're feeling stress or anxiety, I was waking up every day to go teaching, and I would feel this horrible, sick feeling in my gut. I was feeling really anxious, and for a while, I just stuffed it down, just toughen up, mate. Typical male attitude. Toughen up, mate. Put up with it. And then I thought, no, what is that anxiety telling me? It's telling me I do not want to do this.
Yes.
That's what emotion is telling you, exactly what you're focusing on. And if you listen to it, if you're feeling anger, there's a reason why you're feeling anger. What is it? What are you focused on? Change it. Move out of anger. Anger is not a healthy place to be. Neither is anxiety. Neither is fear. It's okay to feel it. It's okay to learn from it, but don't stay there.
Absolutely. That is so crucial. And for anyone who knows about Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness, I don't actually have the diagram right here in front of me. However, for those who understand the quantum field and the energy, and that we vibrate at, 99.9% of us is energy. We are vibrating at different frequencies. And whenever we get into anger or sadness, we're vibrating at below 150 hertz. In fact, a lot of people right now in the world are vibrating between 75 to 100 hertz. And this is scientifically proven, right? Look up heart math, etc. Now, the highest energy or frequency we will feel as human beings is enlightenment at over 700. Whenever we get at 500 and above, we are coming into love, peace, gratitude, and that's the states ideally you want to stay in if you want to attract more opportunities to yourself and also get clarity on where you want to go. When you're in anger, sadness, it's very hard to think straight in those states. Wouldn't you say, Andrew?
Totally. You can't.
Yeah, lifting your vibration is actually coming from the heart a lot more than actually coming from the head. A lot of people get stuck in their head and what they
Get
feel
out
they
of your
should
head fast.
do.
Yeah. Get out of your head fast is my advice.
Yes. And living a life that others want you to live. The number one regret of the dying is living a life not true to yourself. So how do you live a life true to yourself? So what's your answer to that one, Andrew? How do you live a life true to yourself? You said trust your gut.
Yes. Well, look, I think the first step, being true to yourself, you've got to know what you like and what's important. And I think, again, the first question to ask is, how do I want to live? What type of life do you want to live? Do you want to have an impact on people's lives in a big way, in a small way? Just do you want to have the freedom to travel? Do you want to live simply and is, I don't know, like we're all different, and I think we just don't spend enough time thinking about, if I woke up and I could do anything that I wanted to do today, and money was no longer an issue, and I had all the time I wanted, and I had all the health I wanted, what would I do on that day? That I call it an ideal day.
Yes.
Not and I've got a description of that on my wall right now, and I read it every morning. What is that? What does that day look like? And get a vision board, start putting pictures, start getting images of the things that are important to you and that you want. It doesn't matter about what anyone else. If you're in a partner in a family, do it with your family, do it with your partner, do a shared vision. There's something that's amazing when you focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. You talk about vibration, you will move out of anxiety, you'll move out of fear, you will move out of stress, you will move into excitement, you'll move into empowerment, you'll move into determination. And that's happened to me multiple times in my life. The vision of the thought of being a footballer, running through the banner, out onto the ground in front of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of screaming fans, I visualized that from a young age, and that got me excited. The thought, that vision, that clarity, I felt the emotion. I felt it. It moved me into action. It moved me into action. And every day I was excited. When I decided to write my first book and I could see the life that it could afford me, I didn't want to waste any more time. Like, even though I was working 80 plus hours a week, 2 businesses, paying off debt, didn't worry me. I thought, I'm going to write this book because this is the book that's going to set me free. This is the thing that's going to open the doors and help me live the life I want. I'm not putting that off. And I was excited about it. Didn't mean I didn't have setbacks. It didn't mean I didn't have bad days, but it meant for most of the time I'm focused on what I want, not what I don't want. Yes. Most people spend their time thinking about what they don't want. We're living right smack bang in the middle of a time when how many people every day now think about what they don't want, what they wish they didn't like. Yes. What they don't have, like I don't have freedom. I don't want to be in lockdown. I know you're in Queensland, you're the same situation as Melbourne, but the people that complain about a government that they can't do anything about, people that complain about a lockdown that they're not in control of, people complain about wearing a mask when it's not in their hands to decide whether or not they should be wearing a mask. When you stop thinking about all the things that are out of your control, start focusing on what can I do? What can I do right now? based on the situation and circumstances I'm in. What can I do? What do I want? Get to work. Like, stop blaming, complaining, criticizing. We live in a society of blame and criticize. We love shifting responsibility. And
yes, absolutely.
Look, I'm saying this with a fair bit of passion at the moment because it's me. I used to spend so much time complaining and whining about why aren't I this and why aren't I that, and then I thought, hang on, mate, you're responsible for your life. No one else is. What do you want? How do you want to live? Okay, there it is. Get to work.
Yes.
Get to work.
And don't worry about the how. You can have anything you want in life. Anything is possible. In fact, I have my magic wand right here. I have 7 awesome steps, media magic steps I cover with my clients. And we have the magic wand, and this shows anything is possible for you and your life. Okay, believe it, see it, feel it. Don't worry about the how. The how will show up. Okay, and that's where a lot of people get stuck on the how.
Yep.
How is this all going to happen?
That's when they spend too much time in their head, or when they
yes.
And this is my advice: is you need to have the vision that starts in your head, right? That's the thought.
Yes.
You think about what you want. Get excited now. Move it very quickly into your heart, and with that excitement, get into action. Again, don't worry about where it's going to happen. I had no idea how to become an author. I just knew that if I start writing, and I do it every day, eventually I'm going to have a book. I mean, it's logical, right? It's not rocket science. If I want to be fitter, healthier, if I want to lose weight, if I start eating healthy breakfast every day, and I start moving my body every single day, I know I'm going to get healthier. If I start putting money in the bank every week, if I start saving more than I spend, I'm going to have a surplus. I mean, we look around and say, oh, they're so lucky that they're so healthy. I used to get told all the time, you're so lucky you've got good genetics. My genetics, I used to be called a toothpick with ears. Like, I was skinny. Right. Like, I do not have good genetics. I had to work hard. I have got great habits when it comes to my health and well-being. It's not luck. I'm an author today. People go, oh, you're so lucky. I wish I could be an author. Right. Every day, whether you feel like it or not, do it every single day. If you want to make money, don't complain about not having enough money. The reason you don't have enough money is you're spending more than you earn.
Yes.
Spend less, save more, earn more. There's lots of opportunities now to go out and create other sources of income. We live in the 21st century, for goodness sake. There's businesses and opportunities everywhere. And what a perfect time now the world has clicked straight into digital. We are now living in the digital age, right, where anything is possible. It's just about, what do you want? Vision, focus. What do I want? Get excited, move into action, get started, and create the habits that will predictably lead you to the result. I mean, really, that's Tears of Joy. That's what my book's about. That's what the acronym stands for. T is the thought. The thought will create an emotion. The emotion will get you into action. The action, if you continue to take that action, becomes a routine. Success is predictable. It's not luck. It's not talent. And I'm a living example of it. It's not about talent or luck. It's about the right actions to the point of unconscious habit. And that's really what transformation is. People think, oh, I've got to give up everything and I've got to change my life. No, you don't. You just got to pick one or two very, very simple things that will move you closer to what you want and create permanent positive habits with those. That's really all it is.
Yes, simple. Gold. Absolute gold. And it is simple. And however, it's not easy for everyone, but it is actually very simple principles, right?
Well, look, I would say, sorry, I'm going to challenge that. People go, oh, yeah, simple, not easy. Tell me what's not easy about eating breakfast. Tell me what's not easy about going for a walk. You live in Queensland, for goodness sake. You got beautiful weather. Now, in Melbourne, it's a bit more of a challenge. But then I walk up and down, on a bad day, I walk up and down my corridor. Don't tell me that's hard. Don't tell me it's hard to make a phone call. Don't tell me it's hard to not spend that money, to cancel your Netflix subscription and put that money into an account. That's not hard. And we go, oh, yeah, but it's so hard. It's not hard. That's a mindset. That's something you're telling yourself. If you say this is hard, it will be hard. If you tell yourself this is exciting because I'm creating an amazing life, I do it with ease. I exercise with ease because I love the result. This affirmation and this thought process, remember, everything starts here. Everything you have in your life right now. Now, this is going to offend and upset some people. That's okay. I'm all right with that because the message is clear and important. Everything you have experienced in your life right now, you created with your mindset. It doesn't mean you've created your circumstances. However, you're in control of how you respond and what you do as a result of those circumstances. So whatever life you're living right now, if you're not happy with it, you are in control. You can change it in a heartbeat. All you can do is change your focus, decide what you want, and get moving towards it. That's it.
Yes. When they say, it's simple, not easy, I think what it's referring to really is the habits that people have and overcoming those habits of like, okay, it's simple and it's actually easy to have breakfast. However, if someone's used to, sleeping in or, having coffee first thing in the morning and they're not eating for a few hours, if that's their habit, which is formed from, thoughts and which lead to actions and our beliefs, etc. So unless we get conscious sometimes to what we're doing,
yes,
it can be challenging to overcome those habits. So half the thing I think is getting conscious where we've been unconscious, right? And
absolutely.
Yeah. And look, got some great comments here coming in. Hello, Marie-Louise, coming to us from Melbourne. I did a vision board in July and I spend time every day looking at it and the goals I have for myself. Things are already improving because I'm wishing for them and working for them. Well done, Marie-Louise.
That's great, Marie-Louise. Fantastic.
Awesome.
That is exactly what we're talking about.
Awesome. And then she says she's also in Melbourne. I feel you entirely. I'm focused on the positives as well, unlike so many of my neighbours here. Yes. And absolutely what you said is so true, Andrew. There are so many things we cannot control right now. However, there's also a lot we can control. Now, a lot of people are getting educated right now around their rights, around common law. There's a lot of common law meetings happening. In fact, we've got one on the Gold Coast tonight. 200 people at least will be there tonight learning about their rights, about common law. Now, wearing a mask, while there's certain rules around that, you can also be exempt from wearing a mask. Now, look into this. You don't actually have to wear a mask, okay? You can get an exemption for that. So look into that. There's things you can control even around the so-called rules that are happening right now, okay? So there's a whole upheaval of the whole current system that's going on as well. And it's important while all this is happening to remain calm, peaceful, loving, get that hurt people. There's a lot of dramas. There's a corrupt system that we've had for a long time, right? And I think it's actually great at the moment that things are being upheaved because it's about time. Like the banking system, for example, there's a whole lot we need to be aware of. Like, next thing, did you know it costs $1 billion a day to keep the JobKeeper allowance going in Australia? Now, that is not sustainable. And so what's going to happen is there's actually something called a bail-in law where the government is going to start tapping into people's super soon, right? Potentially, right? So if you don't have a self-managed super fund, which is something you can control right now, right, potentially the government will just come in and take your super. Now, that's something to get educated on. Okay, now I'm learning about these things myself, and there's a lot to learn in the whole common law area, but just look up common law Australia, and get educated. Okay, now I'm not going to get on a big rant with that. However, there's a lot you can control in the current state of the world, and there's opportunity out of every adversity, right? Now, you lost 100 grand there, Andrew, and you said it was one of the best things that happened, right?
I did. And let me just, sorry, you finish all and then
Yes. Well, I just want to say there's a lot we can control. We can control our responses to the dramas and et cetera in the world right now. Of course, there's stuff happening that is absolutely, catastrophic, mind-blowing. We've never been in a time quite like this, let's face it. There's, very interesting things going on in the world. Revelations, Mark of the Beast, all that kind of thing, for any Christians out there or anyone who, finds that just slightly interesting, what's going on currently in the world. It could well be related. There could be some truth in that, right? There could be some truth. So do your own research with everything, okay? Question everything. Yep. Now, I've worked in the media for a long time, and I can tell you currently the mainstream media is a propaganda machine for those that are really behind what's going on right now. And do your own research again. But we are seeing the same information again and again and again. Get the jab so we can open up our country again. We can be free again. Well, the fact is, no one's ever going to be really free of this. Let's face it. The things are going to be changing in some form. There's change afoot. This is going to be like the new normal, right? And in the new normal, there's now new economies happening. There's all sorts of new inventions that are coming out of the flames. There's phoenixes happening right now. There's transformation happening, right?
And that's available for everyone. Everyone can transform right now.
Yes.
I think that's really, really important. I mean, I think first thing I need to say, because sometimes I annoy myself with my positivity, right? Like I'm annoying.
Right.
Sometimes I piss myself off. It's like, oh my gosh, Andrew. And you know what it's like when you're having a bad day and someone says it's okay, look at the bright side, you want to punch them in the face, right? Now that's good advice, and we should all look at the bright side, but there are times when you just got to have a tantrum, right? And I think it's also good to allow yourself to have a downtime. It's not a bad thing. Just don't stay there. I look, for me, the big moment for me, obviously in the last 2 years, was when COVID hit, and I'm a speaker, right? So I do a lot of speaking in front of a lot of audiences. I'm in front of many schools, lots of corporate stuff. So just before COVID really kicked in, I had all these things booked. I was going to actually come to Queensland. I was going to get flown up to Sunshine Coast to speak at a conference, and I was going to meet up with friends, and I was so excited, and I had all these things booked. This represents tens of thousands of dollars of business, right? So COVID hits, bang, lockdown. Within a couple of days, every single one of those bookings was cancelled, and all that money was gone. Now, let me tell you, I didn't want to be positive. I did not, and so I slid down the wall. I had the tantrum of all tantrums, and stomped my feet and hit the floor and cried, but I know now, after many, many years of don't stay there. Then I started again, and I saw the last comment that came up.
Yes, Sandra. Hello, Sandra. Everything.
Hi, Sandra. Everything is so important, Sandra. Because if I stayed in that thought of it's not fair, I can't work, I can't get speaking gigs, I'm going to spiral into depression. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? And we're seeing that at the moment. All these people that are focusing on the wrong things are spiraling. There's more suicidal thoughts. There's more suicide attempts. There's more domestic violence. There's all these things that are happening as a result of the wrong thoughts. Because remember, thoughts lead us into emotion. And often, if we're thinking about what we don't want, that's why there's all this violence happening, Aldwyn, at the moment, because people are focusing on what they don't have, what's been taken from them. And I agree with you. You got to learn. You got to know what's going on. But if you can't control it, seriously, don't focus on it. So for me, at that moment, I thought, okay, this is not good. What can I do? I've got a vision. My vision is to inspire people. My vision is to create a wave of wellness around the world. That's my vision. That's my mantra. That's what I say every single day. My goal is to help people live a life of joyful longevity. If I'm not doing it, then I can't help other people. So it was in that moment I thought, I got up from my tantrum. I wiped my tears away. My little dog's looking at me like I'm crazy. I dusted myself off and said, okay, what do I do? And it was amazing. When you ask yourself the question, you'll get the answer. What can I do now? Get online, jump online, create these things, get on the phone, speak to organizations. They're going to need help. People are going to need help right now. Teenagers are going to need help. And very quickly, I just simply transformed my business from face-to-face, from a local audience to a global audience within a couple of months. I'm talking to audiences all around the world, in Asia. I was in Italy. I was in Holland. I was in England from this very seat, because it was... because I focused on what I wanted. Now, I had that moment. I had that tantrum. I was there, and that cleared. Sometimes the tantrum is a good thing because it actually clears the cobwebs, right? It gets that junk out, and then I could think clearly. But again, coming back to Sandra, everything you have in your life starts with your thoughts and what you focus on, and your beliefs and your perspective. If you're feeling anxious, angry, change your perspective. If you're frustrated with COVID, then look at the things you're grateful for because of COVID. I'm grateful, incredibly grateful. I started my podcast, and Aldwyn, you were a guest only a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And I love my podcast. I've now transformed my business to online. I can go anywhere around the world at any time. I've met some incredible people. I'm about to publish my 8th book. All this stuff's happened in COVID. I'm saving money because I can't go anywhere. Yay, how good's that?
Yes.
There's so many things. The air quality is better outside because people aren't driving anywhere. I'm spending...
That's true.
I bought a new car. I bought a new car 3 months ago. I've done less than 700 Ks in 3 months. My car sits in the garage, just keeping its value. How grateful am I? Like, there's so many great things about every situation. Losing $100,000, $100,000. Well, that's terrible. Only it's all how you look at it. not for me. That was an investment in my future. That $100,000 I invested in that cafe that failed put me in a position to say, right, what am I going to do? I'm going to write a book. That first book, I've got multiple best-selling books. The amount of money I've made as a result of that decision, because of that circumstance, has made that $100,000 pale into insignificance. That's small change, right? So it's all perspective. It's all thoughts.
Yes.
That's where we
Absolutely.
need to be focused on, not just always use your emotion as your guiding point. Use your emotion to tell you what you're thinking. Your emotion is your body explaining, hey, I'm telling you, I've got great information for what you're focusing on. If you listen to me, I will give you the best information that will transform your life. If you're willing to listen to your emotion and understand why you feel it's okay, anger's okay. I understand anger. I certainly do. I understand frustration, anxiety. I do. I've been there many, many times. But don't ignore it. Don't stuff it down. Stuffing it down is going to cause health problems. It's going to cause you to explode. Why do people jump off buildings? It's because they've stuffed down emotion. They haven't dealt with it. Why do people resort to violence? For the same reason. Why do people fall into addiction? Because they're not dealing with that emotion. They're not understanding it. They're judging it. They think there's something wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with us. We're emotional beings. We're humans. We're meant to be emotional. Use that emotion, understand that emotion to change your thinking towards what you want, and you watch how that emotion changes, how your actions start to change, how you start to create the habits that will start to give you everything that you want.
Yes, well said, well said. Sandra's got another great comment here. It's amazing how these days are opening my eyes. It's so important to find a support system, especially getting to know what's going on and realizing what people are really like. Well, that's interesting. And what some people are like, right? Because there are actually a lot of amazing people out there, and getting that hurt people, right? So if anyone's being nasty to you right now, they're just hurting. So send them love. Send them love. I have my little love heart.
That's a really good point. That's a great point. Aldwyn, because it's
There's
easy. I love you. I love your love heart. But it's so easy when someone snaps at you to react, because we get angry, right? There's the anger. There's in our head we go, that's not fair. You can't say that to me. Bang! I get angry and I snap back. And often in anger, how often do we regret saying or doing stuff in anger?
Oh, now, yes.
Someone snaps at you and says something rude to you or unkind to you. If you can stop, okay, feeling anger. It's not fair why they said that. Well, maybe. Okay, now, perspective. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're suffering. Maybe they're going through some sort of challenge in their life, and that's exactly where give them love. That's where you can change anger into empathy. If you change anger into empathy, all of a sudden, your cortisol levels drop. All of a sudden, your body starts generating positive and healthy hormones that are helping strengthen you and helping you make a better choice. Now, if you act with empathy, you're probably likely to go, hey, can I do anything for you? Help that person. All of a sudden, you've turned that person from angry and unpleasant into someone who's grateful, and you've just helped that person. Now, think about the ripple effect of that, not just you and that particular person. What about then if they're now feeling better, going, wow, yeah, that's not fair the way I spoke, and I spoke to someone else that way earlier today. I'm going to go and ring them and apologize, or I'm going to help the next person. And all of a sudden, we've created this ripple effect of kindness, and it all starts with a thought.
Yes. Absolutely. I love that. The ripple effect of kindness, so important. And because a lot of times when people are angry or upset or sad, they just want to be heard often, and they just want to feel validated. And so often just listening to someone as they share whatever they need to express, and for me, I know growing up, my dad said anger is danger. And so for years, I didn't express my anger. And even now I find it challenging to actually speak out in an angry tone. And so I internalized it, which then led to depression. So this is where, letting out those emotions. And for me, table tennis was a great release of my anger. I also wrote poetry. I did artwork. These are all great ways to release anger without actually hurting someone else, right, physically. And
you hurt that poor little ping pong ball, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And I must say a few people ended up with bruises on their legs because I hit that ball pretty damn hard with my forehand smash. And I used to train down at Albert Park down in Melbourne. We had the Australian Table Tennis Academy. I was down there a lot actually training in Melbourne when I was growing up. And I used to belt the hell out of the ball. I was known for my killer forehand smash. So that was a great release of my anger. So I think whatever it is, recognize, acknowledge the feelings you're having and let it out somehow without hurting anyone else, of course. This is very important.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Sandra says here, learning much about history as well. Very interesting times, that's for damn sure. And she says, stop putting people onto a pedestal. Everyone has fears and has their own challenges in life. Well, that is true.
That's
Everyone
so
has
true.
their own
So
stuff
true.
going on. And thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know where you're joining us from right now. What are you getting out of this conversation for yourself? Just pop into the comments if you're watching this at Media Queen TV on YouTube or on Facebook.
Questions.
Yes.
Love some questions.
Yes, questions. Any questions for Andrew? Absolutely. So back to the TIERS process. I have a question. So the TIERS process, now you touched on that before. So the TEARS, what does that exactly stand for?
Thought.
Yes,
everything starts with a thought. Everything. I think we've covered that pretty well. And Sandra's reinforced that. Everything. And
yes.
Marie Louise also with her vision board.
Yes.
That's what you focus on in your mind will lead you into an emotional state. Okay, that even emotion that you can't explain is because of an unconscious thought. Okay, it's still always a thought. So the thought leads us to an emotion. Now that emotion will either lead us to an action. So when I feel, when I focus on what I want and I'm determined, like when I decided to write my first book, I could visualize the outcome, my life changing. I was determined. That determination and inspiration moved me immediately into action. So I'm saying, if anyone's listening to this and watching this today, and you've got something you want, get clear on it, get excited about it, and get started today. Don't wait, because tomorrow you won't feel the same. Start while you've got that emotion. Get into action.
Yes.
That's what the A stands for. A stands for action, spontaneous, immediate, today type action. Now, the next one is that this is the challenge. Now, this is all one where you said simple, not easy. You said that changing habits or creating habits, there's the challenge, because so often life is going to try and pull us back into our old way of doing things, right? The neural pathway in our brain, or those neural pathways in our brain, are very strong. So routine will happen. There's now some real good, strong neuroscience around what is required to create permanent positive neural pathways in the brain. At least 63 days. Okay, so if you've got and you've got to keep it simple here, one or two things. For example, we use the example of being healthier, maybe eating breakfast and doing 10,000 steps a day if you want to be healthier. Drinking an extra glass of water a day. 3 things, no more than 3 things, but you need to do them every single day, every day when you don't feel like them. Now, when you're going through this challenging time of creating a permanent neural pathway in the brain, there's a few things that will really help. Number one is always focus beyond the discomfort. And when you think, oh, I don't want to do this, think about how you'll feel when you've done it. Yeah. I always, when I get up in the morning to exercise and I don't love it, my alarm goes off around somewhere between 5 and 5:30 every morning, and I get up. Why do I get up? Well, now it's a habit, but I just think about how good I feel when I've done it. Think about, this is a biggie, when you think, oh, I don't want to do it today, think about who's watching you. Who are you influencing? Who's going to be affected by your choices? Who are you going to set? What example are you setting for people? That can be a powerful one. The other one is really important, and I call it win the day. Winning the day, because 63 days sounds like a long time, doesn't it? Like for me, I can't focus for 63 days. It's too far off in the future. Too many things could potentially happen. I can't focus for 42 days, 21 days, even 7 days, but I can focus on today. So what I do is I take the action. I tick a box. I've got a checklist. I tick the box and I celebrate. Woohoo! I'm a winner. I have won today, because I only ever need to win today. If I don't just win every day, I'll never get to day 63. Today's the only day I've got control of, and today's the only day I will ever have control of. Same with you. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we do know what we can do today. So focus on today every day. Do that for 63 days. And you will automatically create this strong neural pathway in your brain, which will create that routine. Now, every routine leads us to a result. Now, the S in the TIERS stands for success, but it's not always success, is it? It might be sickness. It might be sinking. Whatever S word you can think of is based on the routine you've created. People that create unhealthy routines around their eating or around how they react to certain situations are finding that they're not getting results. Unhealthy routines around overspending, find themselves in financial deficit. It's not luck. It's predictable based on our routine. So if you want success, you've got to create good routines. But it all starts with the right thought to move us into, get us into the positive, powerful, determined emotional state, which will get us moving today. And every day for 63 days, you focus and you think about how good it will be when you're there, when you look that good, when your bank's full, when you're happy and healthy, and you've started that business or you've written that book or whatever it might be. You just focus every day, win every day, and I promise you, like this skinny, sickly little kid played professional sport, like this clueless, non-reading, non-writing, non-academic footballer ended up a best-selling author. It's not because of luck, talent, ability. It's because of creating good routines, because I focused on what I wanted.
And then the S is success, is it?
S is success.
Success. Beautiful. And then tears. I love the whole concept of tears, letting the tears out. Sometimes, we need to let the tears out. Like we have tear ducts for a reason, men as well, right? This whole thing, boys don't cry, that's complete rubbish. And I think we need to express that, right?
Well, tears of joy, you think about moments in your life when you've achieved or done or had some sort of experience so meaningful, so important that you cry. I mean, I'm a crier. Well, what can I say? I'm a crier. Those tears of joy is your body's way of responding to an amazing achievement. So we want to experience tears of joy. I want that often, and the whole idea of the book is to help people experience those tears of joy moments often, regularly.
Yes, nice. Well, I had a breakdown the other day, and they weren't tears of joy. I had tears of overwhelm and anxiety, and the subconscious. I'm not enough. No matter how much I do, it's not enough. Was coming up for me, and and I went through a little breakdown, and thank goodness I had some great people around me who reached out and had some conversations. And after a few conversations, I felt a lot better. And I realized that things will take as long as they take. Sometimes I can be really hard on myself as a high achiever in life, and I want things to happen really quickly, and I want certain results, and then I get frustrated. And in Landmark there's a saying, be committed, not attached, right? And that's the thing is, progress is better than perfection. Sandra's saying she's in action today. Well done, Sandra. Reaching out to friends and checking in with them. Good on you. And she says, great point. You don't know what you might inspire by your action or your routine. Absolutely. You just don't know where that will go. And don't listen to the ones that can't be done. Keep on going. Absolutely. Sandra says tears is an emotional release. It is a great release. And sometimes we're going to have these breakdowns. It's like the yin yang of life, right? Yeah. There's this polarity. There's the dark forces and the light forces happening right now in the world. We're seeing it play out, right? It is playing out big time. And what are you going to choose? Are you going to come from a dark place in life, or are you going to come from a light place? And sometimes, when I have breakdowns, I know it's my body telling me to rest. It's my body telling me to just take time out for me, because I give and give and give and give. And we will be told by one way or another, with our dis-ease in our body, or our mental, emotional, physical health, somehow we will get the warnings that we need to slow down. Sometimes we need to slow down to speed up, right?
Yeah, for sure. We've got to take it easy on ourselves. Yeah. We've got to be kind to ourselves. We're the most important people in our lives. Without us, there's nothing. So
yes, absolutely. Now, I'm sure people are going to want some of your books. So I'm going to pop the link for that up. So what are the other books you've done? You've done some, I like the one about, eating chocolate and drinking, etc. I think that's a jolly good idea, and still losing weight. I think what a great idea that is.
I think that's why that was a bestseller. I think most people want that. So that was number one. I've got books. I've got quite a variety of books. I wrote a book about my mum's journey with cancer and her amazingly inspiring person she was. That's called Tears of Joy. And I wrote a book called Accidental Author, because for anyone that wants to write a book, Accidental Author, that's my story and the steps to become a best-selling author. The Wellness Puzzle is a book that was my 7th book, which has done incredibly well, which is looking at all the different things that affect our well-being, very holistic approach to well-being. Kicking On is more about my footy career, but the one that this one, Tears of Joy, this is the one that it should be out in the next couple of weeks. So this is the one I'm very excited about, because I think right now this is more relevant than I didn't realize it would be, but now's the perfect time for this book to be out there and helping people not just survive in this time, but thrive. I really want people to live their best life, and it's possible right now. Yes, right now in the middle of COVID, in the middle of uncertainty, now's the time to make a decision to live your best life. So I would love, if anyone wants to buy a book, please do. Tears of Joy is not, you might have to wait a couple of weeks, but jump on and purchase it anyway. If you'd like, on my website, once you're there, there might be an option to say, ask for a free 30-minute Zoom or Skype or a catch-up, and we can have a chat about any area that you'd like to have a chat about. You can do that on my website.
Wonderful. And that is the link that we popped up there before. I'll pop that here again, andrewjobling.com.au/read/Andrews-books. So check it out. Check out the link. Well done on that. And that's the thing, you say write a little bit every day to get a book done. Now, a lot of people are doing audios and getting it transcribed. So you don't have to necessarily, if you're not good with typing or, there's other ways to do it. And I must say, I don't like the term many ways to skin a cat, because why would anyone want to skin a cat? They're adorable little things. So I don't like that term, but you get the idea, right? There's many ways to do something. I don't know who came up with that crazy term, but many ways
shocking.
to do things. Many ways
so
to
I
do
know,
yeah.
Sandra's asking for the link of my website. So Sandra, it's just andrewjobling.com.au.
Yes, here it is here again. Now, sometimes it doesn't come out on my Facebook personal profile when I put a comment in StreamYard here. And so if it hasn't done it now, I will put that link in there. But that is the link there to go to, andrewjobling.com.au/read/Andrews-books. And could they put a comment in there for you to sign the book for them, Andrew? Would you be able to do that maybe?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Excellent. So that's another bonus for you. He'll sign the book for you. And if the comment is not showing up in Facebook or YouTube, wherever you are watching this right now, we'll make sure those comments are in there manually if they don't come through automatically right now. We'll do that after this live interview, which is ending in just a few minutes. So if you have any questions, comments, what did you get out of this? Let us know in the comments section wherever you're watching this. Andrew, it's extraordinary all the things you do. Now, how do you maintain, I know you get up early, your morning routine? Can you share a bit about what exercise? Do you have a gratitude practice? What is it that keeps you at peak performance?
I do all those things. My morning routine is really the key to my day. I get up every morning and eat and exercise, and then I pray every day. I do my affirmations and look at my vision board, read my description of my vision. I write out my affirmations. I write out my gratitude list. I look at my goals. So I just think that morning routines, if you start your day well, you're going to have a great day. If you focus on what you want from the start of the day, your day's started as well as it can start. So.
And what time do you sleep normally?
I'm in bed pretty early. Like 10 o'clock's late for me.
Okay.
I like having an early night's sleep, getting up early and making the most of my day.
Yeah. So that's actually really great, because sleep is so important. And, they say that, ideally we should aim to get, 7 to 8 hours sleep or so a night, which I know that my average is around usually between about 4.5 hours to 6 hours, which is not very healthy. And often I'm up late at night, working till 12, 1 a.m. However, I know that your rest is improved if you actually do sleep by 10 p.m. And I know the days that I do it and I get up early, I usually have a lot more energy in my day. So definitely look at your sleep patterns, and it's so important to rejuvenate your body, right, as a well-being practice. And of course, healthy eating, getting sunshine, 15 minutes of sunshine is brilliant. Get that vitamin D into you. We've been taught that the sun is not good for us. However, it absolutely is good for us to have it in small doses. So get out in the sunshine, take some deep breathing. Do you have a breath work practice that you do? Any deep breathing?
Nothing organized. I'd have to say no, I don't. But there are often during the day, I will, when I go walking or often, up and down my corridor, I will focus on my breathing. So, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Sandra says, I like the comment about common law Australia. Yeah, look, this is brilliant, Sandra. I've been learning all about common law more recently. If you want to know about the common law meeting on the Gold Coast, it is happening tonight at Carrara Community Centre, 7 till 9 p.m. It is up on Eventbrite. It is a free event, entry by donation, and you will learn so much about our rights and what is possible in today's day and age. And in fact, there's going to be a few people there tonight who are ex-police officers who have stepped down from the force because of what's currently happening in the world and because they didn't sign up for what is currently happening and what we're seeing with the police brutality and some of the atrocities that are going on out there. And remember that hurt people, right? There's a lot of pressure on our police, on our health workers, on a lot of people out there right now. So let's show a bit of compassion for those out there. And obviously some of the scenes we've seen lately have been absolutely atrocious, such as at the recent protest in Melbourne, that 75-year-old lady being pushed over, a lady in her 70s, pushed over and sprayed in the face with pepper spray by 2 police officers. That kind of thing is that, I don't know where that came from, but that is not on, and that those guys should be called to account for that. However, that's not our job to do that. However, there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. And when we hear about these things or see these things, it's very easy to get upset and angry by it. However, the thing is to get educated and to show compassion as much as possible, as much as there are crazy things going on in the world, is to find that peace within, kind of like Jesus on the cross when he was being persecuted in the story of that. No, I'm not pushing any particular religion here, although I was brought up Christian, etc. But just that story of Jesus on the cross, and people were throwing things at him and being really nasty, and he just said, "Forgive them; they know not what they do." Right, yeah. And that's to have that way of being in life, to be able to come to life with that kind of peace, no matter what happens in life, no matter what is going on out there, these things that we can't control. You can control how you're going to be in every moment, and that power is in the present. As you said, Andrew, the power is in the present. So reach out if you want to know more about that, and just search common law. There's a heap of groups on Facebook. You'll find a whole lot of websites. commonlaw-australia.com is a good one to look at. I'll actually pop that link in here about that. It's a little bit off tangent what we're talking about. However, it's also important to get educated about your rights so that you do feel a sense of control over what you can do with the law as well, because that's a whole other ball game there, right? Now, Marie-Louise, I'm so glad I clicked to watch this live. I had some thoughts affirmed and learned more to think about. Awesome. Thanks, Aldwyn, Andrew. My pleasure.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Eventbrite, Sandra, no, it's best to book because there's limits on numbers, etc. You're best to book through Eventbrite. It's free. commonlaw-australia.com. I'll be there tonight if anyone wants to come down. I will check out your books, and thanks for sharing. Any questions, comments?
Welcome.
What did you guys get out of it? I'll pop that common law link in there. Now, how else can we connect with you and work with you, Andrew?
Well, look, I mean, I'm on all social media platforms, so I'm more than happy for people to reach out through my website or through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever they like. I'm happy to chat to people and see where it might lead.
Awesome. So you have obviously training programs, etc. Do you do any sort of free webinars or anything like that online at the moment? Or
well, I've got a podcast that goes out every week. I mentor authors, so if anyone's looking to write a book, I can help you with that. And there are often things that I'm running. Just got to keep an eye open for stuff. People want to jump on, get on my database. I'm happy to send them a weekly update with the podcast and my blog and what's going on. So there's lots of opportunities.
Yeah, great. So check that website out again. Here it is, andrewjobling.com.au, to connect with Andrew. Amazing to hear from you today, Andrew. We could just keep on chatting. I love how we roll with our conversations. You are such a wealth of knowledge and so positive, and so you really do lift the energy when you speak.
Good.
And
I like that.
very grateful for you being here today. And, for anyone else watching this, thank you so much for joining us. I have a whole lot of events that I run every month. In fact, I have 4 events a month I'm currently running. And we actually have a physical event on the Gold Coast that we are doing next Saturday. It's called the Star Maker Masterclass, How to Present and Produce Videos Like a Superstar. So physical event, we're going to show people green screen techniques. You'll be doing a promo video. We'll show you a free editing platform for your videos. The early bird tickets close off today for that. Okay, so Star Maker Masterclass is that one. You can see all my links at the linktree/Aldwyn, which is just here. Also, I have a free Publicity Secrets Masterclass online next Friday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and you'll find that at that link there. And we also have next week starting the Global Good News Challenge for October. We have a 10-day challenge coming up, and we have our Mass Media Tribe event next week. We have a guest speaker from Holland, Jeff Harrison or Jeff Diamond, who is the director of Ski TV International. He is going to be speaking about streaming media being the future of global broadcasting, which will be fantastic. Another free event next week. So let's stay connected. Follow me on Eventbrite if you want to get all those event updates. Check out the link tree there for all the links. Stay connected. You are not alone in this, okay? It's fantastic and perfect that you are here watching this right now. And there is so much you can do to lift your energy and lift the energy of those around you. Sandra says, glad I saw your live today. I'm just dealing with mandating myself and being very emotional. Oh, well, thank you, Sandra, for hopping on as well. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Aldwyn and Andrew. Our pleasure. Any final words, Andrew?
No. Go out and live your best life. That's all I have to say for anyone listening to this. Don't waste time. You're here once. Make it the best you can be. Focus on what you want. Get into action and get going.
Yay. Make it happen. Take action. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Andrew. And as Gandhi says, be the change you wish. Be the change you wish to be in the world. Is that right? Be the change.
Be the change you wish to see in the world.
See in the world. Thank you. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And as I say, shine bright and light up all those around you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Andrew. Have a beautiful day or night.
Thanks, Aldwyn.
Wherever you are in the world. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.